Okay, so this one is called I Call Him Tuesday Afternoon. It's written by Jeff Holdsworth in 1994, and you can find it in your textbook on page 316. So follow along with me as I read. He was a strange, comical fellow, an ungainly, rather squat figure with plump limbs, and as I estimated, in his early forties. He was possessed of an arrogant countenance, and showed little warmth of spirit, and yet he seemed to have traces of femininity in his face, and elements of the assertive independence of an African about his countenance, especially on those rare occasions when he smiled. His hair was thin and wispy, not dark and thick. His forehead was narrow and creased from squinting into the sun, and his small pig eyes were a dull, lifeless gray. His skin was white, not the pleasing tinted off-white of the Spanish visitors I had encountered, but an alarming, sickly white, interspersed with patches of bright red. His face was round yet long, his nose short and sharp as an arrowhead, and his large lipless mouth revealed crooked yellow and brown teeth. Having narrowly escaped the headhunter's attack of last week, it was only a matter of time before their return, but Tuesday afternoon, the first time I set eyes on him, and thereafter my nickname for this simpleton, seemed oblivious to this threat. Observing this odd fellow's strange behavior over a week, I was convinced that, unless I made an effort to warn him of the impending danger, he was doubtless going to die. As my previous attempts at communication had proved disastrous, I took it upon myself to attempt some sort of sign language. When I approached him, he was doing something to one of his goats which defies description. Thankfully, on seeing me, he stopped what he was doing and made some incomprehensible noises, which I took to be a form of greeting. In an effort to instill a sense of urgency and warn him his life was threatened, I mimicked the warlike gestures of the headhunters and prostrated myself on the ground before him in a manner of someone who had been mortally wounded. This was obviously not working. His only reaction was to smile like an imbecile, point to himself, and mumble something like "Masta." Frustrated, yet undeterred, I gesticulated further by grabbing one of his feet, setting it on my head, and drawing my forefinger across my throat to indicate exactly what would happen to him should he remain. My exhortations were, however, all in vain. Again he grinned like an idiot, repeatedly pointed to himself, and said "Masta" over and over. He then offered me some disgusting bread and warm white liquid, which, just to humor him, I ate. Realizing that any further attempts at communication would be futile, and that "Masta" in his strange language probably means I am an idiot, I reluctantly left Tuesday afternoon to his fate.